Steve, we're all ready for you, buddy.
Okay, I can't see too much here.
That's all right.
I'm going to take this off here, everybody. Thank you all for coming out this evening. We appreciate you all being here, and I'll be very brief. I appreciate the voters of the district, both those who voted for me and those who didn't. And I want to commend my opponent for running a very spirited race, and I wish her nothing but the best in the future. Unless, of course, she's running against me. But we really do appreciate all those who work so hard during this campaign cycle. And it's my commitment to continue to do everything I possibly can to work for the people of this congressional district. It's been an honor to represent everybody, and I appreciate the opportunity to continue the hard work that we've begun. I'm the lead Republican on the House Small Business Committee, and in that capacity we were instrumental in crafting and implementing the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP program. And in our congressional district, we received more funding, almost $3 billion. We saved more small businesses, over 17,000, and most importantly, 250,000 jobs were saved. And this is more in all those categories than any other congressional district in Ohio. So I want to continue working hard for those people, because those businesses employ so many people. About half the people who work in our area here work for a small business. So we're going to continue to work for those folks, and we're going to continue to work hard for everybody in this district. So I really appreciate the support and the confidence that the people have put in me again, and I'm ready to get back to work. And so thank you very much. And I want to also thank my wife Donna, and our kids and our grandkids, and our great supporters back here. And it's past some of their bedtimes, I think, back there, but we do appreciate them being here. So God bless you all. God bless the greater Cincinnati area. God bless the 1st District of Ohio. And God bless America. So thank you very much. If anybody has a question or something, I'd be happy
Steve, how did you do this tonight? How has this district changed, and what was this like for you early in the night when those numbers didn't look so good?
Well, we knew that the early voting was likely to be more on the Democratic side, and it was. And the folks that came out today tended to be a little more skewed Republican. And so even though the numbers looked a little worrisome early in the evening, we expected it to be better. And I won, if these numbers hold up, by twice the margin that I did in the last election. They were both very challenging election cycles, and you know, a tough district. It's the one that President Trump won by the narrowest margin of the 12 Republican-held seats. So we knew it would be a challenging race, and as I said, my opponent ran a tough race, and the previous opponent ran a tough race as well. So we were confident. We thought the people would ultimately make the right choice here, and I think they did.
This district will be redrawn in a year or so. What do you expect going forward from that? Do you have any idea at this point?
Well, it's up to the state legislature and the governor to make those decisions on what this district ultimately looks like. I've had the honor to represent it, as many of the commercials reminded people over and over again, 24 years now. That experience has actually been, I think, helpful to the people of this district. It wasn't by accident that we were able to save more jobs than any other congressional district in Ohio.
Why do you think you did better this time than 2 years ago? What was the fact?
I'm not really sure. I worked just as hard this time, maybe harder than I did last time. But I always work hard, and you know, I was raised that way, and that's kind of what we do.
Been at this a while, Steve. Most divisive election that you've been through, I'm guessing.
Well, obviously, you know, the ads were much harsher and inaccurate than anything I've ever seen in my time. And I don't want to be real negative this evening, but, you know, I was the victim of a crime, and these ads misleadingly made it look like I was, you know, the person who committed the crime. That just wasn't the case, and I think the people saw through that. I think candidates ought to stay focused on the differences that there are, and there were many differences between myself and my opponent in this race. That's what we should have been focused on, and you know, and I'll leave it there.
A lot of people, when you get back to Washington, a lot of people want to know how you're going to bring people together. What's the key to bring both sides together?
Well, I've always when I introduce legislation, I always look for a Democratic co-sponsor and usually get one, and that's one of the reasons that a lot of the things that I introduce get passed. UVA, University of Virginia, and Vanderbilt do a study periodically, and the last 2 studies they've done of how effective are you as a member of Congress, I've come in number 6 and number 9, and we're not talking about 100 senators, we're talking about 435 members of the House, so 6 and 9 is pretty good. So I always work in a bipartisan manner, and I started out my political career at City Hall, at Cincinnati City Council. There were 4 Democrats and 4 Republicans and 1 Charterite, and we figured out a way to work together, and I think the parties ought to work together. We ought to be doing what's right for the country, not necessarily what's right for one political party or the other.
So do you know how you feel about running in 2 years? Obviously, as you mentioned earlier, you don't know what the district's going to look like.
I probably won't announce that till at least the day after tomorrow. I'm focused on doing the best I can for the people of this district at this point. So I really haven't given any thought to that at this point, Scott.
I have a question.
Yes.
You say you've worked to be bipartisan. What do you think about the Senate's failure to take on the House's passing of the latest stimulus bill? You guys in the House passed it.
Yeah.
What about?
Well, we did, but the bill that we passed was a very partisan bill. It was $3.3 trillion. Pelosi did not include Republicans in that bill. That's why only 1 Republican voted for it, and he wasn't running for re-election. He was from New York. And she had things in there like taking away, like Ohio, when you all voted today, assuming, I know some of you might be in Kentucky, but if you voted in Ohio, you showed your driver's license or some photo ID. In there, they took away states' rights to have identification at the vote, which would have meant more fraud. So they had that. They had the direct payments, the $1,200 and $2,400 direct payments, which we passed in the CARES Act. They had that going to illegal immigrants. So taxpayers here would be paying for people that are here illegally to get those direct payments. So there was a lot of stuff in there that was purely political. So I would not condemn or disparage the Senate for not taking up that bill. But we ought to come up with a bill together. And that's why I've introduced the Paycheck Protection Act, the second round of that. And I'm working very closely with Nydia Velasquez. She's the chairwoman, a Democrat of the Small Business Committee. She was my ranking member the last 2 Congresses when I was chair. So we work together, and we ought to be working together in Congress. You can get things done that way. Anybody else?
Lancers?
Go Lancers! Lancers roll deep. Absolutely. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Take care.
Hey guys, good job.